Hey, it's Kennedy. It's your girl Kennedy, a whole single. And I just want to stop for a moment this morning and share this letter with you, a letter from a subscriber. First, I want to just thank you all of my subscribers, all of those that are watching these videos, all of those that are keeping me motivated in prayer every day, asking God, what is it that I need to share with the people today that's going to give us just a little more closer to that wholeness that we so anxiously and so respectfully deserve, and that's already us. We were created whole. Sometimes we allowed life to pick parts from us and fragment us, but for the most part God said, he said it is finished. Then he said it's good. Oh, that's very good right there. So he didn't create no junk. But anyway, we're gonna get into this letter. If you haven't already, I want you to like and subscribe to the channel a whole single, because we are sharing the word of God. We are talking about wholeness, healing, breakthroughs, uh, just banding together as singles in this world, single saints, that nothing's stopping us, nothing's going to get in our way. We are pressing forward and we are establishing relationships and holding on to memories. But today, we got a letter from a subscriber, and this is from a gentleman. If you know, and most of you probably don't know, that most of my viewers are men. We can go to our stats and everything. So I thank all of my brothers that like and subscribe to the channel. You guys, hey, I was raised with brothers, so it's just natural that I get along with boys. So here we go. Anyway, we're gonna get into this letter, and let's see what we just gonna call him Don. Okay. Now, Don writes, "Hey sis, love the show. So glad that you have endured the things you've endured, overcome, and sharing with others, and helping us to be whole, complete, and lacking nothing. I like when you say that. But on to what's going on in my life. All right, Don, what's going on in your life? So I've been in a relationship with a beautiful woman over the last few months. We're still dating. We live in separate homes and so forth, but we've been really strongly dating. We have committed that we're, serious about each other and pursuing a meaningful relationship. However, this is the spin. However, I am very physically attracted to her. She's extremely beautiful, well mannered, well spoken. I myself am a professional man. I do work in a professional, which I'm not gonna say what he does, industry. So he wears a suit and tie every day, and he say I make six figures, and so I'm doing really well, and so she's a nice accompaniment when I'm going to business functions, when I'm going to to meetings that like how you had, like in my industry we have conventions and stuff, and so, he's like, she can speak to people and she can talk and she walks well. And she's aesthetically correct and fitting. He says, however, emotionally, I really don't have any attachment to this woman. He says, am I settling with someone because they help to boost my ego? Or am I compromise? Okay, so compromising and just going with it. I'm not understanding the compromise. So we gonna get on. So we eventually actually we eventually had a conversation. After I get a letter, I reach out and I always say, whether can we do a Google Meet, something like that, where we can, talk face to face, Zoom a little bit or whatever, and get some more understanding. So we did. We had a couple more conversations about this. And so, because it's easier for me to talk from my conversation than it is to talk from this letter. But I read part of the letter just to give you an introduction as to what's going on. So she's beautiful and she can walk into a room, but he's not emotionally connected with her. So we and then we
So
spoke. Then
in
we had a
our
conversation.
conversation, Don was saying to me that, when they go places, he likes the way she dresses and everything and all that, and they go out. He said, but the thing about it is emotionally, like he says, it's hard having a meaningful conversation with him. He's like the things that mean something in a relationship, like, you know, do you enjoy, what is your love language, how do you express yourself in love, and I'm like, well, if y'all been dating for 6 months, what, where has what did it build from, he said it built from his attraction, and then that they both liked to go and in the scene. They like to go to jazz clubs, different things like that. They like to be at the cigar bar, those kind of things. He said they like and shared some of the same, interests. So they started out just doing things together they like to do. Then it became things that, if he needed to go to a seminar, business meeting, whatever, he'd ask her to come along, different things like that. And so, as time goes on, he's like, really, he got used to her being there and sort of helping. He said, but when it came to, okay, so where do you see us? How do you see us in another year? How do she replies, doing the same things we're doing now. I love what we're at now. And he says, goes on to, like, because he splurges. Because he makes, she enjoys the gifts. His love language is giving and nurturing and taking care and being the leader and being the man and being the provider, being a provider. And so his love language is providing and gift. And so she's loving that, but he's like, he doesn't feel any kind of emotional attachment because we're not having any kind of conversations about our feelings for each other. It's mostly the things that we're going to do. And so he's like, I wonder if I see her as a good piece to my life when it comes to my growth in business, but I don't see her a partner in my life as a spouse. He says that some other things that he would expect. He says he doesn't believe in gender roles, but that there are certain things as a woman he would expect she would either want to do or talk about doing, And so I asked him to be clear on what he meant by gender roles. And so the conversation went a little bit like this. So he says he doesn't believe in gender roles. He said, but he feels like it's more of his responsibility than hers to take out the trash and wash the car and mow the grass. He says not that she can't do it, but if that man is in the house, that's some things that the man should be doing. As far as he wouldn't want his woman's hands dirty to take out the trash or to have to lift a heavy bag. Or washing the tires on the car there again, having her get dirty, or, mowing grass, which pushing a lawnmower, riding, whatever. He's like, he doesn't feel like that's a gender role that a woman cannot do it. He's just saying if a man is present, he feel as a gentleman he should extend the arm to do those kind of things. He said, and then we talk about, well, what about cooking and cleaning? He's like, now that again, he doesn't believe in a gender role. It could be either one of us or both. We was like, I would love to cook together with her. He's like, she haven't cooked him one meal in 6 months, haven't offered to cook. Every time they're together, they're always going out to eat. And and so he doesn't even, never even asked her about cooking. So I'm like, well, didn't ask? Maybe she just feels you like to go out to eat, and maybe that's something y'all need to clarify. Well, would you cook? Do you cook? Can we cook? Can we try it together or something like that? If those are things, that's the meaning. If you're gonna settle for her not cooking, then you're gonna settle for her not cooking. Compromise is to at least put the question out there and ask, do you cook? Would you like to cook? Can we cook? If you don't like to cook, then let me know. Then we can find alternatives. Then you can also see if this is somebody you want to be with. I may it may work on both ways. I can cook. When my daughter got to a certain age and I didn't have to cook anymore, I didn't cook. I cook every now and then. Then when my husband, he cooked, or if it's something he wanted, babe, would you cook this? I love when you cook that. Betty cropped up. You understand? But that was how we worked that out. We talked about that from the beginning. And and he noticed that when my daughter did get a certain age, he's like, "Oh, my baby just don't cook no more." And I was like, "You know what? I had got so used to being mom cooking for my daughter until when my daughter was I was cooking for my daughter before me and my husband at the time were together. When we were together all these years, then I was cooking. Then she left, and then I wasn't cooking. Then I didn't think about I was never cooking for him. I was always cooking for her. So then I had to learn to cook for him. But he had to also realize that I had been cooking for her for all these years, and that now we would have to compromise in the cooking. And he did. So I compromised by still cooking whatever he asked me to cook. He compromised by me not cooking every day like I was when my daughter was at home and going to school and come home from school every day, needing a warm dinner. So that's settling. That's the difference in settling and compromising. He didn't just settle for me not cooking and be miserable. He's like, let's compromise in this thing. So now that there's the question: have you brought it up? So that's what we talked about. Did you bring it up so that there could be compromise? So don't expect to feel like you just is this settling or compromise if you don't bring it out. But then that was that issue. There was some other issues that caused concern with the friendship relationship, which was he said he really just did not have any kind of emotional attachment to her. He didn't find because they're not conversating. There again, I asked, have you brought up the conversation of further commitment, future? He says, yes, I have. She flakes it off. She pushes it aside. We're going to do just what we're doing. Okay. So that's giving me some inclination that it's not going to change. It doesn't seem like there's going to be compromise. So are you willing to settle for someone that may not compromise with cooking or may not compromise with wanting to be living in a situation? Bring those things up first before you decide, is am I selling or am I compromising? Or am I, because if you don't bring it up, there can't be compromise. But once you bring it up and then you see there's no compromise, there's no give and take, then you may want to rethink the situation before you settle into something that's not going to give you peace. See, the word God says that Paul said, he said, I have learned that in whatever state I'm in to be content. And that contentment gives you peace. So I'm content in that God is all knowing, all powerful, and God can do anything. So I'm content that my God, my creator, he has control of everything around me. He did not cause any calamity to come to my life. My contentment gives me peace. Peace. Settling gives you a peace. Pice. That's singular. That means we're not all together in this. That means that you have just settled for this thing at this time. And if you don't see any peace, any wholeness with the A, all encompassing peace, then you may want to rethink it. Anyway, let's think on this. And if you have any suggestions, any questions, any suggestions for our Don, put them in the chat. Put them in the comments. Let them know. Hey, there may be some more questions, and I think me and him going to talk again. And I'm gonna bring it because I don't really feel like this video is really complete because there's so much many more layers to Don in this relationship than just the aesthetics of it. I'm really concerned about him not having an emotional connection with someone. And he planning, and they seem to be planning a future of just monotonous behavior. That's settling. I want peace. I want to, if I have peace all encompassing and you have peace all encompassing, then we get together and we're whole. But if you're fragmented in pieces and you trying to get peace from me, it's not going to work. So anyway, let's communicate. Let's communicate so that we can find compromise and commitment and contentment rather than just settlement. Anyway, guys and girls, I'm out of here. I have got to move on to the next thing. I love you guys by the gallons. Peace, love, and fish grease. Why fish grease? Because it's hot.